Andrews requested me on Patreon to review Stitch the movie, although it's funny they put movie in the title, as this was really more of an extended pilot for the Lilo and Stitch television series that premiered less than a month later. This basically exists to set up the premise of the show, which involved Lilo and Stitch looking for Jumba's other experiments that have been scattered throughout the island. I did actually watch Stitch the movie when it was first released on DVD, but I remembered pretty much nothing about it from my initial viewing all those years ago. So as a way to get the ball rolling on the show, how does it stack up? Stitch the movie does have its moments, but cannot escape what its primary purpose is. Even at only an hour long, it feels stretched out and could have easily been a regular episode. This movie does not even have a proper ending, to the point it's surprising they did not insert a promo for the show before the credits rolled. Even with its obvious intent, there's still a decent amount of solid material here. I think the first act is the strongest, as it delves into Stitch trying to fit in with the rest of the Hawaiians. Yes, he found his ohana in the first movie, but how does everyone else feel about this alien running around and occasionally causing destruction? I think it does a good job of showcasing Stitch's feelings in those moments and continuing from that ugly duckling theme in Lilo and Stitch. There is some of that trademark humor from the film too, even though Chris Sanders' role in this was just reprising Stitch's voice and he was not all that involved in the writing, the people behind this still captured a lot of his sensibility at points. Pleakley especially steals the show here with several funny lines, and Jumba gets some amusing moments too. Another character I really like here is Experiment 625, who would later get the name Reuben. He gets a number of funny bits involving his reaction to everything going on and his love of making sandwiches. I actually remember around the time Lilo and Stitch was coming out, Disney Adventures printed a series of prequel comics showing what Jumba was up to with his experiment making before getting caught for creating Stitch. And Experiment 625 already appeared of his sandwich-loving personality, albeit with a different design. So it was neat to see him depicted here, and Rob Paulsen was a perfect casting choice. Speaking of the casting, they were impressively able to get almost everyone to reprise their roles, but Disney often made an effort to do that with their direct-to-video sequels as best they could, though there were still a few folks who did not return for one reason or another. Surprisingly, the one actor who did not come back for Stitch the movie or the television series was Jason Scott Lee as David, with D. Bradley Baker taking over instead. One possibility is he was busy starring in Dracula 2 and Time Cop 2. He did play the role again in Lilo and Stitch 2, so I'm curious why he was absent from these other entries in the franchise. The filmmakers seem to recognize the importance of Alan Silvestri's score in the first movie, so it's pretty much all recycled here and placed in the appropriate spots. Story-wise, there's not a whole lot going on here. Jumba gets kidnapped by Gantu and Dr. Hamsterville, Lilo and Stitch unleash one of the experiments, they save Jumba, release the rest, and the movie's over. That's what I meant when I said earlier this could have been told in 22 minutes, but they really attempt to get the story to 60 minutes as best as they can. And regarding Jumba getting kidnapped, it's a bit of a shame he spends most of the movie separated from the others. It would have been good to see more of the dynamic, but they probably figured they could showcase more of that in the show. Meanwhile, you have Gantu turn into a villain when he was not really a villain in the first movie. An antagonist, certainly, but his main thing was just trying to fulfill his duty as part of the Galactic Federation and trying to catch someone who was seen as dangerous and destructive, which Stitch was before Lilo changed him. It's such a pivot for the character, which the film does not have the time to dive into. As for Hamsterville, I think Jeff Bennett is a great voice actor and he puts his all into voicing him, and I don't blame him, but I forgot just how annoying this character is. Most of his dialogue involves him screaming in an irritating voice, and the writers really love the running joke of his name being mispronounced and his irritation being called a gerbil. It's been a long time since I watched an episode of the show, but I recall that also being a frequent thing there, and is definitely the sort of joke that gets old quickly. I'm sure the show fleshes Hamsterville out a little, but his first impression in Stitch the movie is of a very underwhelming villain. Overall, this presents a mild diversion, although it obviously exists as a way to promote the series and sell some extra DVDs, rather than just having it premiere on television. Now, if you've seen Stitch the movie, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for the request, Andrew.